Welcome to Dominant Mets Nation. And the Mets have won the last 3 out of 4 games. Oh boy, and how good would it have been if the Mets would have won yesterday's game instead of stinking it up? We would have been on a 4-game winning streak heading into the Atlanta Braves series, and that would have been actually a perfect scenario. Get off to the season on a very probably negative note, but you know what? The last 4 games have been pretty decent. All right, so the Mets right now are 3-6 heading into Atlanta at 6-2. But you know what? We got to talk about that Reds game where we just won. And you know what? I got to say, Sean Manaea looked good. The Mets won the game 3-1. And there was some pretty keynotes I want to get into. I want to get into some commentary on our last video because there was I appreciate all the comments. Over 100 comments. That's awesome. A lot of interest in that. So I want to make a couple notes on that. Also, want to thank all the new subscribers. Thank you, everybody, for joining, coming aboard. I thank you. And anybody watching now, continue to smash the like button. Join the channel. If you are a passionate Major League Baseball fan, especially a Mets fan, you have to join the channel. This is the channel for you. I promise you're going to like it. Okay, the Mets. All right, first, you know what? Let's start in order. Let's start with Saturday night's game. Let's do my quick commentary on that because there was a lot of controversy about that. Carlos Mendoza did not look good. Running out of pitchers, essentially in the 8th inning of the 8th game of the season is not a good look. Even if you're saving pitchers, we don't give up games when it's in the margin. I mean, like literally, it's 4-5, 5-5, 8-5, 9-5. I mean, we're still in striking distance. And then a guy who's left in there to take one for the team when it's only 8-5. I mean, you're throwing the white towel when it's 8-5 is clearly unacceptable. All right. And then also, too, we had other commentary who many of you messaged me, and this was the premise. You can't have the worst manager in baseball managing a $300 million plus team. And I thought that made a lot of sense in the world. Even though we know he's a rookie manager, we know there's going to be obvious growing pains. You can't have a guy with this type of pedigree right now running such an expensive team. Okay, so that was the storyline on Saturday night. Mets lost a very tough game. And how would they rebound? How would they respond? And you know what? Next game, as the saying goes, the momentum is next game starting pitcher. And we had Sean Manaea at the beginning of the game. I think it was Ron who noted out that the Mets have the #1 team ERA in all of baseball. I think the team ERA was around 2.94, and our starting ERAs was even higher. Our starting ERA was a combined 2.18. So our pitching, nonetheless, has been phenomenal. There were a lot of earned runs because our defense has misplayed a lot of balls. So that's another story. Our offense has to catch up. That's another story. But the one component is our pitching. Would it hold up today's game? Well, we all know it did. Sean Manaea pitched very, very well. He went 5 strong innings. He struck out 6. And I'll tell you, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. There were times in the 4th inning while I was circling, I'm like, oh, if the Reds could just wait out Sean Manaea, this could turn into a bit of yesterday. But Sean Manaea was able to plow through a couple tough innings. The 3rd and 4th innings, he threw a lot of pitches. First and second innings, he threw 23 pitches. He cruised through those innings. But the 3rd and 4th innings, it was what really kind of like, I'm like, okay, this guy is, not only is he solid talent-wise, it looks like he's got a good mentality. He can struggle when things aren't going 100% right. and he was able to make pitches. He threw a lot of pitches in the third and fifth, fourth inning, but he was able to get through it. Bottom line, and I give Sean MANAEA a heck of a lot of credit for that. All right. So for MANAEA, in the bottom of the third inning, that's where he had ran into a couple of trouble. He started off the inning with a strikeout, looked good. Then he surrendered a hit and a hit by a bat. So he had 2 men on, 1 out. Then he goes in to strike out the next 2 guys. So third inning, trouble. Good job, MANAEA. The fourth inning, that's where I have to really this is where the game could have went haywire. Anybody who's watching that game was probably thinking what I was thinking. Is this going to be a repeat of last night? Are we going to have to go to the bullpen in the fourth inning? Are the Reds going to blow this open? No. Okay, how did it start off? Started off, we walked Candelaria, then a base hit was surrendered, then it was a hit by pitch. It was essentially bases loaded, no outs, fourth inning. And then we had a sac fly by Espinal. All right, so then the Reds got one back on the board. They scored 1 run. And then all of a sudden, we had a huge, very huge double play by Thompson. And I have this highlighted in my book. Huge double play. And that there was the difference maker in the game. It could have essentially been over in the fourth inning, but that's what it is. If you make a key pitch in the situation, you could stop the floodgates. And that's why I was super disappointed in the night before, because we opened the floodgates. Carlos Mendoza took one gate and opened it himself and said, here, take the game. When essentially, if you can make a handful of good pitches, you can get yourself out of the inning. And that's why I was extremely disappointed. And that's the perfect example, the fourth inning of the game today, of how a pitcher gets out of a jam. Huge, extremely huge. Now we're going to get to the offense. And we're going to get into none other than, I got to start with our main, a guy who has, I don't want to say villain, but a guy who's had to take a lot of flack the last couple days. Okay, and we got to start off the offense, talking about the offense. All right, we scored 3 runs. Folks, it should have been a lot more than 3 runs. We had ample opportunity to add on, and I was just hoping. I'm like, I hope it's not going to be like yesterday. I hope we're not going to regret all of the missed opportunities like days before. But I have to give a little bit of credit. Not a lot of bit of credit, but I got to give a little credit to Francisco Lindor, because he came into the game batting .032. I don't know when the last time I've seen that. .032. He had 31 at bats. He had one hit. Unbelievable. Oh, folks, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, now's your chance. Hit the subscribe button, like the video. Okay, back to the video. All right, so Lindor starts off the game. He's batting righty, and Ron Darling cunningly notes, anytime Lindor's in the slump, batting righty usually gets him out of the slump. He's a better, more natural right-handed hitter. So first at bat, he's batting righty, pulls the ball down the left field line. It's on the ground. It gets by the third baseman, goes down the left field corner, and Lindor goes into second base. He has a double to lead off the game. Great. You get Lindor on base. Hopefully we can have Pete drive him in, or Francisco. We're in a good situation. 1 out. Francisco Lindor is on second base. Pete, next at bat, pops it up to center field. Okay, all right. So now we have Francisco Alvarez, 2 outs. And this is where, if you remember, Francisco Alvarez hits a ball, and he hits it towards the second base hole. The first baseman gets his glove on it. It ricochets to the second baseman. The second baseman tries to throw to the pitcher covering the first base, and the pitcher throws the ball away. Lindor goes from second and scores. Okay, great. We lead up the game. It's 1-0. Lindor, good running around the bases. Didn't stop. Didn't hesitate. Francisco Alvarez got credit with a hit, so he's still getting hits. He's still getting on base, looking good, and then we start up the game right. But it started with Francisco Lindor getting on base. So we lead off the game 1-0 offense. Good job. We could have tacked on. It could have been a huge inning. Pete got out. Beatty had he hit the ball to third base. Okay, so we didn't capitalize any more runs, but we did put one on the board. There are plenty of opportunities in this game for us that we're going to detail right now where we should have scored way more. Before we get into some of our more offensive highlights, I just want to note one thing. I don't know if anybody noticed this. In the bottom of the first inning, I believe it was 2 outs, a man on first base. It was 2 outs. And Encarnacion Strand was up. He hits a ball, kind of a looping ball to center field. And Bader, again, lets the ball drop in front of him. In my opinion, that's about the 7th or 8th ball this season that Bader let the ball drop in front of him. And then in my head, I'm like, damn, this guy's going to play more shallow. He lets too many balls drop in front of him. And if you've heard my past videos, I mentioned it 2 or 3 times. If you're not going to produce and you're an elite Gold Glove winning center fielder, make those plays. Okay, all right. But Ronnie finally actually commented. He's like, Bader has to be playing a bit more shallow and make those plays. So good job, Ronnie. Great analysis. I've been kind of saying that for a couple of days now. And, it didn't really hurt the Mets in the bottom of the first inning, but it certainly will in the future. Okay, so now this is what I talk about missed opportunities. If you don't tack on early in the early games, early on in the games, when you have opportunities, it could come back to bite you like it did yesterday. Top of the second inning, great example of that. Great example. Top of the second inning was that kind of crazy bunt inning. So Marte, he started off the inning. He led off with a walk. Good job, Marte. Great job. Tyrone Taylor, perfect bunt hit. He gets on base. McNeil, even better. Drag bunt hit down the first baseline. So Taylor down the third baseline. McNeil down the first baseline. We were putting on a bunt clinic. Wow, we're actually kind of using baseball IQ. I'm like looking both ways. I'm like, wow, oh my God, the Mets are using intelligence. They see the infield is back, they're bunting the ball. Wow, okay, I'm all that. So it's bases loaded right now. No out. Harrison Bader's up. I'm like, oh no, one of the worst guys in the lineup. So Bader, okay, he put a good contact on the ball, lines out to first. So it's 1 out, base is still loaded. Still time to capitalize. All right, so Nimmo is up. And thank God, Nimmo got hit by a pitch. So at this point, it makes it 2-zip. But we still have ample opportunity to capitalize and put more runs on the board. It's only 2-zip at this point. So we got Francisco Lindor, hot Francisco Lindor, just ripped a double down the line. And Francisco Lindor hits an ending 6-4-3 double play. So this is what I mean about taking advantage of opportunities. That was a perfect bases loaded, no out situation. We used our intelligence. We bunted. And the only way we scored is because Nimmo got hit by a pitch. So that was frustrating. That was disappointing. I was hoping that didn't send negative notes out the second part of the game. But you know what? We'll move on. We were winning 2-0. Okay, folks, we failed in the top of the second inning with bases loaded. Little did we know we would have that same opportunity in the very next inning. So in the top of the third inning, Alonso led off. He was out. I think he popped up. Alvarez was second. He got on base with a walk. Beatty, he got a single. So with first, second, Marte got a single. Okay, so we're bases loaded again. We're bases loaded. Alvarez got on base. Beatty got on base. Marte got on base. Tyrone Taylor came up. High pitch in the strike zone. Strikeout. McNeil, what he did, he popped it up to the shortstop. So again, 2 innings in a row. And, I was very disappointed at this point. Very disappointed. 2 times in a row, we came up. bases loaded opportunity, and we could not take advantage. Now, these are the things that if we want to be a serious competitive team, we have to be able to move runners over. We have to be able to sacrifice. Sack fly is a good thing. A sack fly is a good thing. We need to be able to advance runners. That's what we need to be able to do. Take advantage of those situations, and then things happen. Things happen. Other teams tend to screw up when the pressure's on. Look at us. Okay, so that at that point it was 2-0. Okay, folks, I have to be fair. I have to highlight this. In the fourth inning, to make it three, to score a third run, Lindor came up. He pulled a ball down the left field line, kind of left center field-ish, to be fair, and he had his second hit of the game. And as I think it was Gary kept mentioning, he's had a breakout game. He had a breakout game, a home run. Now, a double before, now a home run. So, Lindor got 2 hits today. Great job for him. I feel like the announcers, everybody is really trying to push this guy out of a slump. They kept saying, "Oh, it's a breakout game." All right, yeah, 2 hits, one down the third base line. One, he had a Cincinnati Reds home run. I don't know if it's a home run in Citi Field. I don't know. Balls tend to fly a little more. It didn't look like he really got a great contact, but nonetheless, got to give him credit. 2 hits, and it was extremely helpful in the game because those 2 hits produced 2 Mets runs. So I got to give him all the credit in the world. Okay. All right. So as far as offense, that was all she wrote. The game after that kind of got Mets boring. And that's how we win games right now. MANAEA went 5 innings. Jorge Lopez came in the 6th inning. And I got to say, he actually had a couple really big strikeouts. He led off Candelaria, struck the guy out. Then he had a pop-up to McNeil. Then he started throwing a lot of pitches. He walked Cruz. Obviously their shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz, he's a phenom. He's a phenom. So he walks Cruz. Cruz stole 2 bases, stole second base, stole third base, and that's another thing. We got to stop some of these guys. We got to stop the run game. I think it was 17 for 17 to start up the season, and we stink in running, so that's something that has to change. But at the end of the day, with Cruz at third base, Lopez was able to strike out Espinal. So that ended the threat in the 6th inning, and then it really became, I would say, there really wasn't many threats. Raley came in the 7th. Ottavino set him down in the 8th, 1, 2, 3. And Diaz had a very easy 9th. He had 2 strikeouts and a pop-up to center field. I'm trying to see here anything I missed. I guess bottom of the 7th, Raley threw a lot of pitches as well. He had a couple walks. So bottom of the 7th inning was the last time the Reds threatened offensively. But Raley, a seasoned veteran, was able to get through it. As I mentioned, Otto came in for the 8th, and Diaz shut the door in the 9th, and that's how we won. Kind of like a Met. This is how the Mets draw it up. They're not going to score a lot of runs, play solid defense, pitch. We've been pitching the whole year, and we're continuing to pitch. Now to highlight the series for the Braves. We're going into the Braves. As if you listen to the broadcast, the Braves stink right now. Pitching wise. Pitching, they stink. So could that spell good news for the New York Mets? Could the bats wake up? And it's going to be our strength pitching going against their strength offense. Because as Gary mentioned, their OPS as a team is 900. Their batting average as a team is 308. I think ours is a little over 200. So they hit, we pitch. So it's going to be a good matchup. The Braves have gotten off to a pretty decent start. Unfortunately, their start is kind of mirrored in the Spencer Strider injury. Spencer Strider, if you haven't heard, that's probably one of the top pitchers in baseball, if not the top pitcher. And he had an MRI on his elbow, and they found some structural damage. So his season is highly in doubt. So we want to wish the guy well. We don't want to win with guys getting injured. I mean, obviously we'll take advantage of the opportunity, but I want to win when everybody's healthy. Okay, so that's my analysis, my recap. I'm sorry it was a little longer. I just wanted to, clarify a couple things about yesterday. And also, I wanted to be fair for the Mets. In the beginning of the game, our approach at the plate was a lot better. We weren't giving at bats away, we were taking pitches. We had a better approach. I saw it. We missed a lot of opportunities. We should have scored well more than 3 runs. We stranded a lot of men on base, especially early on. But our pitching was able to hold this game, hold it down. And like I said, the key inning was the 4th inning. And the MVP of this game, I have to say, is Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea is who kept us in this game. So when I say MVP, Dominant Mets Nation, MVP, most valuable player, is the biggest reason why we won. And I'm going to do the GOAT too. Yesterday, the biggest reason why we lost, for example, was Carlos Mendoza. Carlos Mendoza. Okay. All right. Well, again, drop your comment, like, subscribe. Sorry about the long video. Thank you if you're still watching. Appreciate it. Let me know if you're still watching. If you watch it to the end of the video, I'm curious about that stuff. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. You know what? Let's go into the Brave series with our heads up right now. Let me give you the final standings. I want to let you. I believe we're in 3rd place. But I'll give you the official standings right here. So the Mets right now we're 3-6, obviously. Okay, so we're 3-6. We're 3.5 games behind the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are coming into the series winning 3 games in a row. They are 6-2. We are 1 game behind the Philadelphia Phillies at 4-5. So nobody's run away with this. We have our chance to make our mark and show that we are a different team this year. So we've said harsh things about Carlos Mendoza, and this is his time to prove it. Prove it. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. Because, honestly, I don't have any horse in this race. Obviously, I'm a Mets fan, but I'm going to call it fair. If they're playing well, we break that down. If we're playing not well, we're going to break that down. So, we're not sugarcoating anything. We're not homers on this channel. We are realists, and we give our opinions. All right. As I always say, can't get any worse. Probably will. All right. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves.